Alright, but as you can see, I finally got my Hawkeye shirt in. Very awesome. But we're here to talk about the Hawkeye season finale. Alright, so I'm gonna give you my expectations. This is what I thought of going into it. I knew that Kingpin was essentially the big bad, right? But having watched the Netflix stuff, I know how dark he is, and I'm really questioning how he's gonna be in this. You know, like, how much different will he be? Will he be the exact same? Is it canon? But the thing that I just didn't really know the most was that he's usually fighting Daredevil, who is usually equally as brutal towards his foes, you know? And I'm like, and here he is fighting Clint and Kate Bishop. So like, I was just trying to picture that in my mind, like, how is that gonna work? So my expectations, I didn't really know what to expect from the finale. My opinions was that it's kind of like the last episode. Overall, it was really good. It felt long, which is very appreciated. It felt like watching a movie, honestly. I think Florence Pugh and Vincent D'Onofrio steal the show. I can confirm now that I cried in all 6 episodes. Florence had me in tears in one of the scenes, but Vincent D'Onofrio had me like clapping and like hypeness, you know. And then of course, Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner are just great. I mean, I don't know. Can Haley Steinfeld be bad? Do we know? I don't know where my assistant went, but I don't think so. Even like as a finale, it's like I see a lot of people like not liking it much on the internet, and I get why. It's like kind of underwhelming, I guess, for a finale. But also you gotta remember, like, I don't know, this is pretty street level. Like, I don't really know what you're expecting. Its finale, I thought it wrapped things up pretty well. My only complaint that I'm thinking of right now is the post-credit scene, but I'm not gonna get into that right now. Pretty much what's going on is that they go to the party that Eleanor has been hosting, and Kingpin's involved, tracksuits are involved, Yelena's involved, and it all really just goes sideways. So without anything else being said, I'm gonna throw a spoiler warning up, and we're gonna break this thing down. Look, I got points right here of things I want to talk about, numbered. I've got 88 points here. I took notes. I watched it, and then the second time I watched it, I took notes. So, opening shot, Kingpin is back. The cane, walking in, and you get this scene with him and Eleanor. Pretty much Eleanor saying, yo, this has gone too far. My daughter's involved. I want out. And Kingpin pretty much saying, like, look, you can't get out. You chose this. Kind of being threatened by the Kingpin. Yelena was obviously there. She sends Kate a video, and Clint's like, yo, this is serious. You don't want to mess with this. This video is not good. Kate's like, Clint, you know what? This is my mess. Just go home, be with your family. It's Christmas time. And then Clint's like, Kate, you're my partner. Your mess is my mess. And it's just like, oh, so sweet. Finally called her his partner. Then you get a scene where Echo walks into the Kingpin, all fancy dressed now, looking like Grandpa Max from Ben 10. I think Vincent D'Onofrio will be a good live action Grandpa Max if we ever get a good, you know, high budget live action Ben 10 movie. She doesn't really tell me he wants out. She wants out. She's like, I just want a break to rethink everything. And Kingpin's like, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, take it. She leaves, and he looks at Kazi and is like, she's turned. And then the Kingpin tells Kazi, like, the city needs to be reminded that it belongs to me. So like, he's been a crime boss, a crime lord, whatever you want to say. We just haven't seen him yet. So I don't know if that's like the technicality of it being MCU canon or not. I don't know. Apparently this episode was supposed to tell us that, but I didn't get anything. So that's the only line I can think of that might have been like, oh yeah, Netflix is canon. I don't know. But then we get a really cool montage of them making trick arrows, which is super cool. It's funny to see Kate labeling them. And among the trick arrows, we see a new Pym arrow, but it's red this time instead of blue. There's Stark Industries arrows. You got some high-tech arrows up in here. And then Clint gives one of his good old speeches that he likes to give. Being a hero, you know, all he gives is the hero talk. And then Kate decides to give him a speech as well. And she tells him about the time, you know, with the penthouse blowing up and she saw him. It's like, you taught me that even without flying or shooting lasers out of your hands or, you know, any of that stuff, that you can still be a hero. So they pull up to the party looking all snazzy, and Kazi's like a couple buildings over with the snipe. He's ready to snipe them. So he's been watching this whole time. And all the LARPers are in the crowd. They're like undercover as like waiters and waitresses. And one of the funny things is that Jack is there. And they even like making jokes about it. Like, is Jack already out of jail? It's like, hey, he must have got bailed out. And he just wears a sword attached to his belt. He's such a goofy guy. Love Jack. Totally misjudged him at the beginning of the show. And there's even a part where they're like looking around and Hawkeye's like, do you see any threats or anything? And she's like, yeah, Gary. He fired me from one of the only jobs I've ever had. Which is, you know, call back to the first one, but she was pretending to be a waitress and told him to go get Gary, and then Gary came, fired her. Also, Yelena pulls up to the party, so you gotta keep your eyes on her. Then Eleanor pulls up, and so Kate goes, confronts her about everything, and Eleanor's all just like, oh, you don't understand. But around that time, Clint almost gets sniped. But he pulls like this tray up, ting. There's just bullets flying everywhere, total chaos. And Jack is like, all right, Jack, it's time. Shing. Kate and Yelena get this really funny, like, elevator scene. And they also have this really cool fight scene. And during the fight, Kate's jacket comes off, reveals her new Hawkeye suit, which is really sick. And then Clint almost snipes Kazi. Sends an arrow up. Kazi dodges it, but it's like one of those gas arrows. So he's like, runs away. And then it turns out, I don't know what these things are called, where there's like, it's like a string with like two balls on two orbs on the side of it that you like throw. Well, it turns out Kate's like a master at those too. She like hits something out of Yelena's hand. She hits another guy later. One of the coolest shots in this episode to me was when Yelena takes the grappling hook and just like jumps out the window. The way that the camera turns with it, so cool. And then we get a funny scene with Kate trying to use the grappling hook, and she survived somehow. Like, it was crazy. I was in there like, even when she hit the ground, I was like, I feel like you should have broke something. She came down fast, you know. On Yelena's way down from the grappling hook, she tries to take a shot at Clint, but misses. Then Trust the Bros tracksuits show up by the droves, tons of trucks. So they in for some trouble now. The tracksuit guy who likes to Imagine Dragons shows up and thanks Kate. It's like, yo, me and my girlfriend, we worked things out. We just went to a Maroon 5 concert instead. So that's pretty fun, but she still has to kick his butt. But then Jack does show up with his sword, and he kicks some butt with his sword as well. While this is happening, Kazi and Clint are fighting, and we even get to see, we get to see Clint use an explosive arrow again, which is really cool. Explosive arrows are always cool. And at the end of his fight scene, Hawkeye takes a leap out of the window, lands in the big Christmas tree, and sees an owl. And there's like a little bit of baby owl just looking at him. Kate's down there kicking butt with the tracksuits. Then we get a scene in Echo's apartment where we see pictures of her and her dad, her dad, and Kazi. And Kazi has his arm around her, which makes it seem like they're in some type of relationship. Maybe? I can't tell. But there's more of this at the end. The LARPers decide to put on their LARPing gear and join the action, which is kind of funny, but I honestly wish they would just get out of the way. Kate decides she's gonna get Hawkeye out the tree, so she shoots it with an acid arrow, which is really cool. And it just, boom, right onto the ice rink. So he just kind of like slides. And then Kate jumps in and she like slides on her knees and she's like taking people out while she's sliding. One of the coolest shots in the movie. I keep saying in the movie, it felt like in the show. We get a new arrow we haven't seen yet. It's like a magnetic arrow. You see it in the trailers, it looked like lightning. Hawkeye shoots something and it goes and like all their guns attached to it. With all this damage, Hawkeye takes his shirt off, and he's wearing a Hawkeye suit. So now they're both suited up, and it looks amazing. With their suits, it's super awesome scene where they're shooting all types of arrows. It goes slow motion. Some of my points here are the arrows that they shoot. You got like a sonic boom arrow, which was cool. I call this one a porcupine arrow. I couldn't tell if it was like porcupines or like toothpicks or like darts, but if they like come out and it like spins around and just like starts shooting everyone around, very effective, it seemed like. There's a freeze arrow he used to freeze the guy's leg, and there was like a drone arrow they shot at someone and picked him up and like took him off. Oh man, the arrows are hilarious. There was also like just like a shocking arrow, like a taser arrow, I guess, almost like a widow's bite. It's like falls down the ground. The one which was very funny is there's a trusted bro truck coming right at him. Kate shoots it with the arrow and it shrinks, so it's like this big, and they look and Kate's like, so what do we do with him now? And Cole's like, I don't know. And then the owl swoops in and picks him up. And it's like, it's very funny, but it's kind of funny like in a dark way. Like he's probably gonna eat them, right? Another arrow. Hawkeye shoots. There's like 2 tracksuits by Kazi. He shoots at him, and it splits into 3. You know, like the blue Angry Bird. But Kazi catches it. So like he's dodged these arrows like 2 or 3 times by now. So I'm wondering if he's like juiced up on something, or like why his reflexes are that good. I'm not aware with his character a lot from the comics. I know he's like a clown, but like there's something else to this guy. Now we get to see Yelena and Clint fight a lot. Echo and Kazi are fighting a lot, but this is it right here. Clint and Yelena talking about Natasha. Oh my gosh. This is where the tears come in. This is where the tears come in. I'm literally sitting here in tears watching this. It's so rough. I mean, Clint and Natasha's relationship throughout the movies, there's tons of it. And then Yelena got like the one movie, but like it was like her sister, you know? And like there's even the line where Yelena's like, you had so much time with her. Like, it's not fair, you know? And I'm just like, no, it's not. I'm just like wanting to cry for her. Oh my goodness. I'm getting emotional thinking about it, huh? Echo and Kazi, they're in this fight. She ends up stabbing him. But before, she was like, we'll run away together, you know? So I'm like, I think she kind of likes this dude. I can't tell if they were like in a relationship at any point. But like after she stabs him, he puts his hand on her face. It's like, he might love her, I don't know. But also that's what her dad did when he died, because there was the blood print. And he even told her to get away, like the dad did. So it's like just kind of some parallels there. So Eleanor gets in the car, driver's neck is slashed, and then the car door gets ripped off. Yeeted. It's the Kingpin. So we'll just be glad that he yeeted the car door instead of, you know, using the car door. Kate takes a shot at the Kingpin. It seems to have stuck a landing, but it like doesn't faze him. He's just like, and you're like, oh. They're just fighting. Fisk seems to be winning, and then Eleanor rams into him with the car, and it damages the car. Like she like, you know, hits the steering wheel, and she's like, oh, because he's so big, and he goes flying, but he's okay. He gets back up, and there's tons of fighting there. We get another new arrow, where like he's about to like go out of like a big like hole in the wall. She shoots, and it makes like this electric spider web type thing to like he can't get out because it would shock him if he went over there. Pretty cool. And the Kingpin gets a hold of her quiver and just breaks it in half. All the arrows are everywhere on the floor. Now Yelena's about to kill Clint. She's like beating him with a stick, and he's like, wait, and then he does the whistle from Black Widow. You know, she's like, how do you know that whistle? Batman v Superman style. And then, you know, they open up, and like I said, it's just so emotional. We ain't talking about it. So here Kingpin is talking to Kate, arrows all over the floor, and she gets a hold of one of its cufflinks, and she goes, ta 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 ta. Like I said it was something going on. Ta 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 ta. Boom, hits an explosion arrow. Boom, Kingpin goes a flying. Then Kate goes to check on her mom. She's okay. She calls the police, and their mom's like, wow, are you really gonna arrest your mom on Christmas? And she's like, I'm sorry, Mom. You suck. Joke. Yelena eventually ends up helping Clint up after their talk. And then when the police get there to get the Kingpin, he's gone. You're like, holy crap, where'd the Kingpin go? Well, Echo finds him in an alley. And he's all like, Echo, you know, sometimes family doesn't see eye to eye. And then she pulls a gun out and shoots him. Off screen, though. Like, in the face. It's like... But so that's like another controversial thing. And I think that's another reason why people aren't liking it. But obviously, they're not going to bring him back just to kill him. He's a very beloved character. People love what D'Onofrio does with him. So he'll be back, I promise you. So that does not hurt the episode for me. You know, it's just like, it did catch me off guard though. So like, Marvel, I'll give you that. And then Clint and Kate have a moment where he tells her how proud of her he is, how far she's come, and how she's even helped him like become a better person through the process, all that emotional stuff. He gets to go home for Christmas. Gets out the car, gets the gifts, and he's like, are you coming? And he brought Kate and the dog. They brought the dog home, which is officially named Lucky. They're all sitting around, all the kids are getting to meet Kate and all this. And Hawkeye's like, hey, guess what I found? The Rolex, which when you turn around, has a SHIELD logo on it and the number 19. And he said, you need to keep better track of your stuff. So it did belong to Laura. I feel like we're gonna get some more backstory on that. Then Clint and Kate, they go out back, they throw the Ronin suit on the drill and burn it. It's like, this, no more of this. And then this is like the big like, what thing is like, she starts going through new names for her superhero. She's like, what about like Hawk Woman or Girl Hawk? And she's like, what about Hawk Shot? It's kind of like Hawk Shot. And he's like, no, shooting them all down. He's like, you know what, I have an idea. And then the title Hawkeye comes up. It's like, oh, I think he just passed the torch, right? Like, she's Hawkeye now. That's what they make it seem like. Give us season 2 already. Give her own movie already. Oh, I'm so excited. The post-credit scene, big waste of time. This is the one thing I do have a grudge with. I mean, it could have... What the post-credit scene was, it should have just been a YouTube video. It was just a full performance of the song I Can Do With This All Day. It's like, no tease for a next season, no tease on what happened to Kingpin, no tease for the Echo show coming up other than the Kingpin thing. It's like, you're wasting my time, Marvel. You're wasting my time. And I remember saying in the opening episode, was the like, oh yeah, the Rogers musical, it was kind of fun, but like, I kind of found it annoying after a while. So I was sitting there watching, like, there's got to be a reason. Like, I figured it was going to end up revealing someone in the crowd, like, watching it the next night or something. Like, I didn't know. But it was a waste of time. So pretty much any of the posts on Twitter that I see hating on the post-credit scene, I like, because they're very funny. Everyone's very vocal about it. That's the breakdown there. I'm trying to get in some Easter eggs that I found. That ladybug is about to drive me crazy hitting my lamp. Easter eggs. Okay. Stark arrows. Okay. Very like, oh, Stark, yeah, obvious. But with No Way Home, No Way Home spoilers, I guess. With No Way Home, you found out these might be like some of the last Stark tech that we'll see, because Stark tech gets shut down and like under evaluation and all that. This had to happen at some point between Spider-Man No Way Home, because the tree falls down here. I mean, I guess I could have put it back up. This could be right after Spider-Man No Way Home, but I also feel like Yelena wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, because it's after Spider-Man No Way Home. The Statue of Liberty doesn't have a shield anymore, you know? So, like, I don't know where it fits timeline-wise. When Kate was upstairs in that one, like, something, there was like a big piano, like on Big, you know, when Tom Hanks is like the child inside the kid's body, and she's like the child, the mentor of Hawkeye. She's gonna be like the child version, not a child, but you know, a young version of Hawkeye. I don't know if it's really an Easter egg or not, but we'll see if Eric Voss counts it. The Pentech Scott was mentioned. For the love of everything holy, I cannot think of his last name. It's Scott something. Scott Lang. I'm good. And this is one of my favorite ones that I caught. Was, I don't even know if it's intentional, but when Eleanor was talking to Haley there at the end, she mentions that with all this going on, there's gonna be consequences to your actions. You know, there's always consequences. And she told her to take responsibility. And I was like, I feel like that's a big parallel with No Way Home. That's exactly what Peter just learned. The reoccurring consequences line from the lizard. He told Peter there was gonna be consequences, and then later he told Peter, I told you there was gonna be consequences, you know? And then responsibility. In this movie, he got with great power comes great responsibility from Aunt May. And he also shared the responsibility moment with my boys, Andrew and Toby. It's like, I just feel like it kind of paralleled, and like, now she's like lost a lot. I mean, she doesn't have her mom. Her mom's jealous. She doesn't have her dad, you know? It's like, I feel like they're in a similar situation. Not as drastic as Peter Parker, for sure. But like, in that moment, she's losing a lot. The number 19 on the back of the watch. And I want to say I'm pretty dang sure that Agent 19 is the Mockingbird, because I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Laura was definitely the Mockingbird at one point. Those Easter eggs I found, that was my breakdown. Thank you for watching all these videos. Hawkeye was an awesome ride. Let me know what y'all thought. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.